like science.
I like science.
On this computer.
I like science.
Yeah, we are. Right now, everything we are saying right now is going to be part of the podcast.
Science.
Right, so I'm not going to start with a thing. I started strong. I don't have a parody. I thought of doing a parody of an Extreme song, but I don't know that Extreme song all that well because there's only one song that really got anywhere, and that was their acoustic one.
Yeah.
And I don't remember it, that ballad. I know it played at a lot of Mormon dances.
Oh, I could sing it for you, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. So, because, being extreme risk, do the song parody. We already did the thing about playing a board game called Extreme Risk, so we already shot that wad.
Wow. Wow, we are disappointing in episode 2.
Yeah, so as beginnings go, and oh my God, what an episode this is going to be. Just
Yeah.
for a random Voyager episode to land on this one is pretty extraordinary because, yeah, an Extreme Risk doesn't even have to do with like the main thing that people remember from this episode, which is the Delta Flyer.
I know, right?
I mean, yeah, there's some risk in them, taking this experimental shuttlecraft into the atmosphere of this gas giant, but even so, the Extreme Risk isn't really about that.
No, it isn't. Well, the thing is that when the episode started, I remembered the whole B'Elanna wanting to hurt herself.
Right.
But,
The Klingon
but
cutting.
yeah, the Klingon cutting. Yeah, basically
Yeah.
that's the Klingon version of cutting is trying to hurt herself in dangerous situations on the holodeck and
Oh, yeah.
removing the safety protocols and shit like that. And
Yep.
so it didn't occur to me until later. It wasn't until they had their encounter with the Malon and the probe being, tractored away and then redirecting the probe down to that planet to hide it from the Malon, etc. Ad nauseum. Also, the Malon, you suck.
Well, the Malon come off like a Captain Planet villain. They
I
just
know,
go
right?
around the cosmos just dumping toxic waste everywhere they go
Yeah.
and then stealing stuff.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Libertarians. Damn it.
Except no, they're actually taking their own shit and putting it somewhere else. Libertarians wouldn't do that. They'd expect someone else to do it for them.
Oh, that's right. And then not pay them.
Mm-hmm.
Or pay them the least amount of money possible. Or expect
Yes.
somebody to volunteer to do it
Yep,
out of the
that
goodness
too.
of their hearts
Mm-hmm.
and out of the fundamental reason that we have as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That because it would be reasonable to remove toxic waste, somebody would do it. Not them.
No, not them.
Somebody
Never
else.
them.
No.
It's always somebody else that's doing the work for them.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, Malon, you suck, but at least you're not as bad as libertarians. Ouch! Sorry to any libertarians listening.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if the Malon are basically Star Trek's libertarians. It's not that closely coded, but it's close. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's probably more in the realm of the Ferengi, but now they're so straight-laced capitalists that they don't have that libertarian independence and liberty and all that stuff.
No, this is basically big energy. That's what the Malon are. They're
big oil.
Big oil, big energy. They are just acting like their toxic waste don't stink like shit, and they're going and dumping it off on other planets and not telling anyone, or maybe the entire Malon race. This is what they actually do, is just, oh yeah, our home is not going to be a toxic waste dump. No, we're going to do that to other planets because who cares about other planets if we get what we want? So they're I wouldn't put them in the libertarian camp at all because they build a whole new craft to try and get that probe back. So I feel like that is not something a libertarian would do.
I don't know. It's into innovation, the manufacturing spirit. I mean, it's got some Ayn Rand stuff, pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of energy, but it also suggests cooperation, which is not a big thing in the libertarian camp. It's all about each person being an island and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, taking what you want to do to the absolute extreme, even if it kills people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's not big on the cooperation aspect of things.
Not at all. And if
Yeah.
anyone's ever played BioShock, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is a prime example of libertarianism gone wrong.
That's what I didn't understand about Atlas Shrugged is that you have all these leaders of industry leaving to their own little island, and then what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're gonna have to hire people to do the things they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that gonna work out for them?
It's not. See, that's the
Because
whole
they'll,
thing.
yeah.
It's like, oh, the parasites, the parasites. Yes, but guess who does all your actual work? Oh, right, it's these parasites you keep mentioning.
Yeah, it's about these employers that you're not paying or giving a living wage or having work in safe conditions or allowing them to form unions.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
No.
understand that Ayn Rand grew up in, communist Russia, but she kind of swung far other direction. And she died penniless and basically, just kind of eking her last few years off welfare and stuff. So she was still accepting handouts from the state, Social Security and that sort of thing.
Mm.
So, it's kind of funny. They write all these books about how, the social programs don't work. And how did your libertarianism go for you,
Yeah, well, who knew that discussion of the Malon would bring us around
Yeah.
to a treatise on libertarianism?
It's just so short-sighted
It is,
that
it
that
really is.
that the solution, what solution to a problem is whatever's most convenient at the time. You don't really
Mm.
think about, I mean, okay, if you want to know about how libertarianism kind of fails and the whole libertarian paradise, look up this thing on Canton, and I think this is New Hampshire, Canton, New Hampshire, or Grafton, that's the name of the city. Grafton, New Hampshire, and bears, and the situation with bears just overrunning the city because they removed regulations. The fire department was a mess because they didn't want, funding to go to it. It's just the whole city is just in a terrible mess. And New Hampshire is known for libertarianism, and there's, I think John Hodgman said this, is you know how poorly libertarianism does as a government as soon as you drive into New Hampshire, because you can tell by how poorly maintained the roads are
Mm.
that they have no investment in infrastructure because it doesn't make a profit.
Yeah. Wow.
Now we'll lose all our libertarian listeners.
If we have any libertarian
If we have any,
listeners.
I think by now. I mean,
I
the
think by now,
libertarians,
yeah.
another thing with libertarians, I'm going to just hammer this nail,
Okay.
is the anti-trans stuff.
Yeah.
Libertarianism is supposed to be about individual liberty first and foremost. The only thing, like only laws they really believe in are like personal property, and everything else have at it. They don't want any interference. What about the freedom to choose what gender you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
What upsets libertarians about that?
Don't
And so it kind of shows their hypocrisy if so many libertarians are against, trans health care. It's like, no, that's part of individual liberty, is being able to decide what gender you want to be.
Yes.
And why is that off the table when all these other things are fine, especially if it's about how much wages you pay your employees or whether you get to dump your toxic waste or not.
Yep. Fucking
Or be a
Malons.
Malon. Yep. So
Let's just call them Malons from now on. No, that doesn't work because,
no,
there's
it doesn't. Yeah, it's not a one-to-one, but there are hints
there are
of
some
that kind
aspects
yeah.
of libertarianism that
Yeah.
the Malons embody, but the rest of it is definitely just greedy
Mhm.
corporate greed.
Yeah, the Captain Planet villain,
Yeah, the Captain Planet villain. Well done, well done. So
which
if
I
you're
thought was absurd until I grew older and just looked around and went, "Oh my God, these people exist." I mean,
yep.
you look at UK with the water, and they're just dumping human waste into the rivers,
Ugh.
and just because they don't want to spend money on the chemicals to treat it, so they're just dumping it. And this is all because of, I think, Brexit, because the chemicals are manufactured outside the UK. They don't want to pay tariff on it. Well, you guys chose to leave.
Mm-hmm.
These are the repercussions of your actions.
Yeah. What did
Like
they
this,
think would happen?
yeah. It's like, you know how ska bands have the guy that just skanks? He's just
Yes.
there to dance on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you have a ska band and the guy who skanks thinks he can go solo. That's what Brexit is. Britain is the guy who skanks, leaves Germany, leaves Belgium, France, all these European countries, and Britain leaves. It's
Mm,
like, what is Britain? What do they have to produce, really?
yeah.
Especially after the Tories, for I think, what, 12 years of Tory rule they had, where the Tories basically sold all their natural resources. So they have nothing. And now they're solo and they're facing the repercussions of that. So, and
Yeah.
that's when,
Welcome to Politics Corner, everyone.
yeah,
New
Labor
segment.
comes in and looks around, go, oh, we're broke. Yeah, you are.
Whoa,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
that scared the
Spock
shit
just
out of
fell
me.
over.
Oh
Spock
my
fell
God.
over right onto
I thought
Brandy.
someone was coming after me.
If you've seen The Unready Room, which is every Saturday around, what is it?
Noon Mountain Time. Figure it out for your own damn self.
Noon Mountain Time, which I think is 2 o'clock New York, right?
Yeah, 2 o'clock
Yeah, 2
Eastern,
Eastern and 11
11
Pacific.
Pacific, and
Yeah, if you
Central
see
always
that
gets
each.
forgotten. No,
Oh yeah,
actually,
that's
Central,
Chicago,
yeah,
Cincinnati area.
Central actually doesn't
That's
get forgotten as often as Mountain.
no, Mountain gets forgotten all the time, but that would be 1 o'clock Central on Saturdays. That Brandy and Dan, you get your mention, Dan Gunther.
Hi, Dan.
They record episodes of The Unready Room on the Kurt Ratz Productions YouTube channel. And yeah, you guys just recently discussed some more Prodigy because you usually discuss whatever the current series is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
we'll only have 3 more weeks of discussing Prodigy because we're doing 2 episodes at a time. And we just did episodes 13 and 14. So there's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then we have no more new Prodigy to talk about. And then
yeah.
in October or late October, we'll have more Lower Decks, which is going to be the last season. And who the hell thought that was a good idea?
Hmm. Yeah,
Fucking executives.
the Greatest Trek Star Trek podcast, they've been holding off on doing Prodigy until it's all together as one thing and whatever. Because I think some places aren't getting it all yet, I think, maybe.
Hmm.
But there's some reason they were laying off of it and they're going to get to it later. But they're doing the Battlestar Galactica reboot
Yeah.
instead. But anyway, I was saying about the Unready Room, and if you've ever seen it, you know that Brandy has a life-size Ethan Peck Spock, Ethan Spock behind her, and it fell over on her. This cutout cardboard stand-up thing fell over on her as we were recording.
It's windy outside, and I have that air conditioner in the window, so maybe
Oh,
breeze caught him.
it's a
It really
possibility.
scared the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah,
It's
your
like all of
door's
a sudden
closed.
it's like
The
someone
cat's
coming
in here.
at me.
Yeah,
Oh,
and yeah, he just kind of toppled over. I wonder if he wasn't quite set properly.
oh,
And
he
he was
was
just
set
kind of
properly.
precariously standing over you.
Ugh.
But yeah, he fell over right on your shoulder. Yep. So now that your
Okay.
heart's beating crazy. But yes, Malons.
Malons, they suck. Also, Balana's dead inside.
Right, she's numb, which reminds me of that musical about the mountains and the valleys. What is that? I Miss the Mountains, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
I
that is
can't
about
remember the name of the musical. I know somebody out there knows it, and
yeah.
I know the song exactly, and it's one of those songs that I know how
Oh,
that feels.
is it Close to Normal? Is that what
Next to
it's called?
normal.
So
Next
Next
to
to
normal.
Normal.
Next to normal.
Yes, that there's a song about missing the mountains and the valleys because being bipolar and on a medication that kind of evens you out, but evens you out to such a way that it's like being numb. And
Yeah.
you know what it's like because I think you've been on antidepressants that have that same kind of. And I hope you don't mind me talking about this.
No, 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 I don't mind at all. I'm an open book
Yeah,
when it comes to my mental illnesses.
yeah, but
That medication was Celexa for me. We were
mm-hmm.
trying to find one that worked for me, and that the thing is that you want the medication to take away the extremes,
Right.
not to make you just one baseline, just,
Hmm.
you need those peaks and valleys. That's normal stuff.
Right.
So Lexa, it got to the point where, yeah, I didn't feel depressed, but also I did not feel happy.
Right.
And I couldn't have orgasms. So
Mhm.
that put the kibosh on that right then.
Yeah, it just kind of painted the world gray for you, It's
Hmm.
just not nothing, no highs, no lows, just
Yeah.
beige.
I was dead inside, like
Yeah,
Bologna.
yeah, it was a horrible time for you. That particular antidepressant did not work out for you.
It did not, but the one after it did. And I've been
Yes.
successfully using that for a long time.
Yes, that is a good thing.
So fear not, everyone. I'm fine.
Yeah. And I think all of us have had those times where you just feel numb.
Mm,
He's just kind of beaten down and in a psychology class in college, and there's, pretty sad because there's a little bit of animal abuse in this kind of
mm,
discussion, but that's typical of psychology and psychological studies is doing animal testing to determine these things. But it's a scenario called learned hopelessness is that you would have this partition and set like a dog or another animal on this electrified plating, and the fence would be too high for them to jump over. And so they just get used to having their poor little feet shocked.
oh, God.
And then you would move the partition, but they wouldn't move to the other side that isn't electrified because they became so used to having their little feetsies shocked that they didn't even conceive, oh, that fence is down now. I can move to the other side. Sometimes we just get so accustomed to being in the shit that we don't see the spot that isn't the shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. The thing is that I don't think that's what's happening with Balana here. I think
Yeah.
with Balana, it's more of a I can't handle this, so I'm not going to.
I see it as because she discusses towards the end of the episode exactly what her reasoning is behind all this is that she's lost so many people
Hmm.
that because Chakotay told her like a couple of weeks earlier that I guess the rest of the Maquis in their group had been slaughtered.
Yep.
And she's lost family members, she's lost other friends, she's lost crew, and she's in this position where she just can't cope anymore. And so she has to have these extreme situations to feel anything because it's just numb. They've hammered that particular nerve so often that she just doesn't feel anymore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, goes into the holodeck and does these extreme things without safety measures just to feel something. And I think there might even be a little bit of a death wish there, a little bit of survivor's guilt,
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
even though she says she's not trying to kill herself, and even though she says she's not depressed because she confuses depression with sadness, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not the same thing.
You're not.
Depression can be that numbness. It can be that learned hopelessness. That can be feeling the walls closing in or just not having the energy to do anything or the drive to do anything. And you see that in her behavior. She
Mm-hmm.
is not herself around anybody. And some people are picking up on it. Some people are just like, well, maybe, this will pass. But yeah, just things that she would fight against, she just accepts.
Yeah.
The time she would make fun of somebody like Neelix, she doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like looking for a connection, and yet she can't feel it when
Yeah.
she's getting it. Like she goes and talks to Neelix, and
Hmm.
she wants to catch up with him. She wants connection, and yet the thing is that she's not opening herself to the connection.
Yeah, she tries. She tries a little bit to get that, the positivity, like having a meal from her childhood, to reconnect to the things that brought her joy. And even that is not quite right because
Mm,
she isn't in the right mind space to enjoy it.
no. And she won't admit why. She
No,
can't admit why because she doesn't know it yet.
yeah, so she's at once reaching out for help, but not quite in the right manner and not quite to everybody. She's very closed off from the rest of the crew. Oh, and speaking
Yeah.
of the rest of the crew, where the hell's the doctor?
Yeah, they mention him.
They mention him,
but you
yeah,
never see
because
him this episode.
who's I think it was 7 of 9 that suggests she sees the doctor,
Yeah.
and Belana's like, nah, I
No,
don't
I'm
need to do
fine.
that.
And her just continuing to tell people she's fine.
Mhm.
That's the biggest mistake. That is the
Right,
biggest mistake. And I know she's very self-sufficient. She's also
right,
very stubborn,
right.
and she thinks that she can handle this herself, but she can't. It is obvious that she cannot handle this in a healthy way.
When she first was going into the holodeck for these extreme, without safety measure things, I thought it might have been related to her half Klingonness
Mm,
and trying to balance that, being two species, stuff that Spock also struggles with
yeah.
is like which part of your personality are you accepting? Are you denying? You have to balance these two things. And I thought maybe she was trying to reconnect to that Klingon aspect of her, but it's not that.
No, it is
It's
definitely not
something,
that.
I guess, more fundamental, more personal to her than just her makeup, her genetic makeup,
Yeah,
her, I guess, cultural makeup.
that too. Well, and that's the thing, is that she was caught between two worlds.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's kind of devastating watching her
Mm-hmm.
in this episode, just watching her doing all of these horrible things, getting hurt, and still just not coming out of it. That's because hurting
It's
yourself physically isn't the thing that's going to get you out of this.
right. It's a hell of a performance by her too.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Is it
Roxanne Dawson,
Roxana Dawson? Yeah.
yeah,
It's
Roxanne Dawson's great in this.
her ability to portray this confliction
Mm-hmm.
and her during the episode and towards the end, when she actually, because she cares for the rest of the crew, kind of breaks out of her headspace and does something to assist in a dangerous situation. That she feels that sense of belonging that, yeah, you are a part of a family and they're not going to leave you. If they possibly can, they're not going to abandon you. They're not going to die if they can help it and if you can help it. So that togetherness is kind of brings her back into the fold and
Well,
helps like blow the clouds away.
that and Chakotay manhandling her into the
That helps
holodeck.
too, kind of, yeah, to well, they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. And so
Mm-hmm.
when Chakotay names the thing, it's like that thing, if you know the name of the demon, you have power over it. It's kind of that
Yes,
exorcism thing. It's like if
exactly.
you can name the demon, you can exorcise it. And so if you can name the psychological issue you're having, you can deal with that. You can seek to recover. It's like there's still something you're probably going to struggle with, but there's are steps you can take to get into a better frame of mind. So you're not just rehashing the same mistakes over and over again or living in that same kind of spiral, like a
Yeah.
spider circling a drain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing, obviously this episode was made in the 90s, early
Yeah, I
2000s.
believe
I
so.
think early
Yeah.
2000s. Late 90s, early 2000s. I'm not going to look it up right now.
Right.
And there was still so much stigma about mental health
Oh, yeah.
that I think that this was a very important episode on that front, despite the fact that she didn't actually seek mental help.
Well, yeah, I don't think they have an actual counselor. I think maybe the doctor doubles for that.
Yeah, well,
But you
and he
could
can,
go to a superior
yeah,
officer or something like that. She could go to Chakotay, who is a friend because they were in the Maquis together.
yeah, and who knows all of these people
Mhm.
as well. She could have gone to him. She didn't. And I
Right.
think it's part of this whole I can handle this sort of thing. I'm going to handle it my way. I don't need someone to help me. I'm self-sufficient. And yet at the same time, obviously she's not. Obviously she needs help.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the
but
hardest thing to ask for, especially if you are an independent person like she is. She's used to being self-sufficient. She's used to be the problem solver rather than the person that seeks help.
right. But here's the thing. Asking for help actually is stronger than not getting help.
Right.
That requires a strength that cowering behind your problems does not have. So people think, "Oh no, I'm showing weakness by asking for help."
Right.
No, you're not. You're showing that you're strong enough and you're smart enough to know that you need help. and you're asking for what you need. That takes strength. And hopefully, she figured that out at some point after this.
Yeah, I do have the release date. It aired on October 28th, 1998.
Okay, so it was
yeah,
late
late
90s, yeah.
90s. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, it seems like they'd put a Halloween episode around that time.
Yeah, well, they didn't always know exactly when something was
Yeah,
going to
that's
air,
true.
but
Well, especially
um
stuff when it got like preempted a lot,
yeah.
as Voyager did.
And Enterprise as well. Like we
Yeah.
missed whole seasons of both because of preemption of the what was it called? It was I don't
There was
know.
wrestling, I think.
Yeah, there was wrestling, there was baseball, there was football,
Mm,
there was
yeah,
always something
yeah.
going on that was interrupting. And then they would never tell you when it was going to air again. And it usually was at like midnight or 2 in the morning. And it wasn't on the schedule, so you couldn't set a DVR for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, I never even saw all of Enterprise until it became available on streaming. And then I finally was able to see all of the episodes of the series because same thing happened to them. So anyway, the moral of the story here is don't keep your problems to yourself. That's what your village is for.
Yeah, and I struggle with that. I keep my problems to myself all the time, and it's really
Yes,
something I shouldn't do.
which really annoys me about you,
Yeah,
dear.
yeah. When I'm in a bad headspace or something, I'll just be quiet about it.
Why?
I
I'm
don't
not quiet
know.
about it.
No,
I
yeah,
tell you
you'll
all
tell
my
me right
shit.
out. It's like I am struggling right now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, don't do that.
No,
We've known each other long enough.
yep.
Don't do that, Dave. You heard
Okay,
it here first,
so
folks.
this was directed by Cliff Bowl, and I
Oh
think
yeah, Cliff
it was
Bull. Everybody loved Cliff Bull.
well directed.
Yeah, he was a good
Uh,
director.
it's wild going because of the format of our show, going from Picard to this because the difference in production.
Yeah,
Because
production
aspect
values.
ratio is 4:3 rather than the whatever 6:9 or whatever it is,
16:9.
16:9. That's right. You know, the widescreen cinematic style, super high budget Picard series, season 3
Yep.
that looks like it could be, cinema quality. And then this, where it's 4:3, made for your square television, your big old cathode
CRT.
ray tube
Yep.
television monitors that weighed a ton. And everybody's standing really close to each other so it can be in frame together. So everybody's like right up next to each other talking. It's like it just
Yeah, people wouldn't be that way in real
different.
life.
Yeah, just right, like nose to nose talking to each other. And like, whoa, you guys are really close to each other right now.
Yes, yes. This is also kind of around the time that Tom and B'Elanna are getting it on.
Yeah, and Tom, not knowing her very well, because he seems like one thing is his mind is on the Delta Flyer, and then he
Mm-hmm.
just kind of shrugs off anything going on with B'Elanna. And he's like, I don't know, she's never told me anything. And it's like, ask, take some interest in your girlfriend, you silly guy. It's like she's just a little bit of awareness would be nice, but I never really liked Tom.
He's more palatable in sixth and seventh seasons.
Right. Yeah, just the dangerous flyboy, overconfident and kind of has that jock quality to him. The
A little
popular
bit.
kid in school that's, is rebellious just because his dad is some bigwig, and so he has to make waves. He's got
Yeah.
his own little daddy issues.
Everybody's got issues.
Yep.
Everybody has them. Everybody
Mhm.
has baggage. It's all in how you pack it.
Yep.
So, yeah. But the Delta Flyer, let's talk about
Okay,
the
let's talk
Delta
about the Delta
Flyer.
Flyer.
So,
And
yeah, he already has the schematics ready.
uh-huh. And I like how I said it was an arms race, but Janeway says, "Oh yeah, this is a space race because the Malon and the Voyager crew are building shuttles that can withstand the pressure of the gas giant to go in and get this probe that the Malon was going to steal." And then Janeway was like, "No, you're not," and moved it into a gas giant so they could get it later.
Yeah, well, the reason that they want to get this probe back is because it has Borg shielding, and they do not want that technology to fall into the hands of the Malon.
Right.
Because they will do terrible things with it,
Yep.
obviously.
So all the Voyager crew is excited to create this craft, and of course,
Except for Tuvok.
Tom's been thinking about this. Yeah, Tuvok is like, "Oh, do we need fins on it. We're not
You
building
don't.
a hot
We're not
rod.
doing that. Yeah,
And
just two
also,
vodkas.
what's his thing with Harry? You know, Harry's got this idea of what materials to make out of to, I guess, avoid the fractures.
Hmm.
And they're like, no, we're not doing that. It's like, well, the microfractures seem to be an issue. Maybe we should listen to Harry. Maybe he knows.
Well, I think if I can't remember correctly now because it was like 2 weeks ago that we watched it, but I feel like they didn't have time to replicate the material.
Right.
And because time was of the essence. And so, yes, that's what they wanted to do, but it wasn't what they could do because they knew how far along the Malon were with their ship and they just couldn't do it. So I think that's what happened, if I remember correctly. If I don't, then there'll be a correction corner next episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was a reason why they couldn't follow through with what Harry wanted to do. One thing is that they were already so far advanced in what they were already designing that they basically have to go back from, to square one to start over to design his style. So
I do love Tom putting all the old school like Captain Proton controls.
yeah, he wanted manual controls rather than push buttons.
Yeah. Well, manual controls are fun.
Yep.
But knobs can break.
Yep. Yeah, they can.
Just
Most
saying,
buttons
Tom.
too. So yeah. Yeah. And during this process, they find out that the Malon are building their own vessel. So yeah, it does become a space race, and it's whoever can get it done faster and better. So yeah, it becomes a motivating thing for the crew, which is kind of what you need in situations like this, because they're basically lost in space. Star Trek's Lost in Space. So a little something to get all the crew behind. People are working their hours off, when they're not on shift,
working around
trying
the
to build this
clock.
thing.
Yep.
Yep. And eventually we get B'Elanna in there to assist.
Yeah, she's not really excited about it, but she knows that she needs to be on the ship in case the ship hits the fan. But Tish.
Yep.
And that journey down there to get to the thing. The Malon are ahead of them by a little bit.
Right. Yep.
But the Malon don't do well. Don't do well.
No, I think they get don't they get trapped in the gravity well of the gas giant and start getting pulled in?
Yeah. But Delta Flyer, she comes through, except for the microfractures do start happening and it starts to get drastic. And so B'Elanna has a great idea that she's going to buy them some time by welding a panel over where the microfractures are starting so that they can hold this baby together long enough to grab that probe and get the fuck out.
I like when 7 of 9 is about to hold this panel up to the place, and you're like, why are you holding it that way? Because it wasn't like square, it was at an angle.
I want it square. I want it to fit.
Yeah, it's like an OCD thing. It's like it needs to be square and framed, and I'm like, it needs to be over the support panel so they can weld it into place.
I know.
And it had that weird effect with the microfractures of the pressure that is like how Freddy Krueger's face pushes through the wall. It was kind of doing that with these little impressions in the hull of the ship.
Like little hailstones just kind of hitting against the ship. And, honestly, if they hadn't pulled this off, they would have lost some key crew members because you got Harry, you got Tom, you got 7 and 9, you got B'Elanna.
Yeah, that's a lot to lose with one risky, going after a probe of all things.
Yeah, but imagine if the Malon got their hands on that technology.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, maybe we shouldn't put Borg shielding on probes anymore.
Well, they also didn't expect freaking big energy corporations to dump shit in the area.
And then the welding of the panel is a temporary fix anyway, because B'Elanna's got to MacGyver some shielding, some actual like shield to put between the hole in the hull
and the rest of the ship.
Yeah, to protect the rest of the ship from egress.
Yep. She manages it just with like a second to spare, because of course we've got to have it go down to the last second.
Yeah, just using some weird conduits and her phaser and I don't know, a piece of chewing gum and a paper clip. She managed to create this this
She MacGyvered the hell out of it.
shield, shield generator. It's like,
Yep.
geez, maybe you guys should work on some personal shields. So you
Yeah,
can do that kind
well,
of thing.
that's the thing. She's a chief engineer, and
Mm-hmm.
she has, in her time with the Maquis, especially, she's learned how to do a lot with a little,
Yep. Make those personal shields like they have in Mass Effect.
right?
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed in that series.
Yeah, same here. But yeah, we're, I guess, the two of the few.
Yeah, well, and the gameplay actually gets worse as you go through the game.
Well, what was it, the second or third one where they remade you out of the pieces of your flesh they found burnt on some crash somewhere?
I think it's the third one. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
And say, oh, you're gonna resurrect my character and pretend it's the same person as my person died. This is a whole other person.
Yeah, and guess what? You can't look the same either because they've got a whole new character creation process.
Yep.
So you are
Yeah.
forced to get as close as you possibly can if you
Mhm.
can even remember what they look like. Anyway,
Yep.
and don't get me started on the endings either.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I know there are a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine.
I liked the control ending, even though it was not the one that people recommend. They wanted the synthesis one because that
Mm,
seemed to be the whole theme of it. But,
yeah.
what's the difference of forcing people to synthesize with technology or forcing a bunch of people to go somewhere else?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not neither one of them. I guess there's another option where you just don't do anything.
Mm, yeah.
And you just let the techno guys just run over everything and start a new cycle.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, that brought back a bad memory.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It wasn't about that. It was about you probably don't remember this, but I just remembered it. I was actually asked to be on a podcast with some friends about
Oh.
the third game and
Mhm.
how it ended, and they loved it and I did not.
Right.
And I'm like, well, is this going to be a problem? And they're like, no, it should be fine. Dissenting points of view are fine. And then they did the podcast without me.
I remember that. I remember that still.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
They did the podcast without me.
And it was just a love fest on their side without anybody saying otherwise.
I wouldn't know because I didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
But that was extremely demoralizing at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, I never podcasted with those people.
Nope.
So yeah, here's the thing. Don't be mean.
Don't be you or don't be mean.
Don't be mean. Don't be mean.
Okay, don't be me. Well, that's
Also,
good advice for people is don't be me.
don't be me.
So I think you'll be better off.
Yeah, definitely don't be me because you won't sleep at night.
Yeah, I've been struggling with that myself. I
Actually,
struggle anyway with sleep. I maybe get 4 to 6 hours.
maybe you need to do the same thing I'm doing right now, which is you start taking some calcium too, as well as
Okay.
more vitamin D3.
Right. I see.
Because actually that has improved my ability to sleep during the night.
Oh.
And also has kept my pain to a minimum because I get pains in my legs.
Pains in your legs.
And I didn't think that would work, but I can't deny that I have been sleeping better since I started doing that. So, which is not to say I don't still wake up during the night because my bladder is usually screaming at me about halfway through going, please don't make you have dreams about horrible bathrooms. Just get up and pee.
I also wake up every couple hours or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try this for you. See what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah, it's just vitamins.
Right.
It's fine.
Yep.
It's
I
fine.
don't know. There's been times where I've had vitamins and have thrown up after taking them.
I'm pretty sure that you're not going to throw up vitamin D3.
Right. Okay.
Okay. It's like a little gel thing.
Ah.
It's tiny. They're tiny.
They're teeny weeny.
Teeny weeny. Itty bitty.
Itty bitty. Itsy bitsy.
Yeah. So, yeah. Balana. Delta Flyer. Delta Flyer is going to be with us for the rest of time now.
Yeah. And this was the episode to introduce it. Now, do you recall Tom ever mentioning the Delta Flyer before, or was this like it? Was this the introduction?
I honestly am not sure.
Because he acted like he already, had this, but he did have it already planned. I just don't know if it's something he's already teased with people and they just were like, no, and he finally got to do it.
Yeah.
Because this seemed like the episode where it gets introduced, but it's definitely the episode where it gets made.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that it's like, oh, we have to do a whole new shuttle. I'm like, really? Because you're really shit at taking care of shuttles.
Yeah, the
You
Voyager
lose a
runs out of
lot of shuttles,
shuttles like crazy, and
except they're never gone.
yeah, well, that was a nice thing about watching Prodigy is they had a shuttle designer kind of 3D printer machine thing on the
Mm-hmm.
Protostar.
Yep.
I mean, granted, that's a future vessel, but it's like they must have a way to do that to keep having shuttles after they keep wrecking them time and time again.
Yeah.
There must be some kind of process where they can design new shuttles and also whatever torpedoes they've had a limited supply of that they continue to use. Must have some way to manufacture those as well.
Yes. Okay. I am trying to find any information here.
What, first mention of the Delta Flyer kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I was looking at memory alpha, but it's too convoluted. So, first mention of the Delta, no, not delay, Delta Flyer Voyager. No,
I
it
see
is
when it
extreme
was.
risk.
Okay, so this was the time,
This
the
was
first
the
time it was
introduction
mentioned.
of the Delta Flyer.
Hmm.
Comes out of nowhere, but with the way that Tom loves working on hot rods and
Mhm.
and shit, it's not surprising.
Yeah, it felt like something that was already in the planning, and yeah, it didn't seem to come out of the blue. That it felt like something that Tom was working on, and
Well,
because it
yeah.
seemed like Harry was like, "Oh yeah, you've been working on this for a while now,"
Well, and
kind
see,
of
that's the
thing.
thing. They've already established in previous episodes that Tom likes to work on ships and he likes
Yep,
to work on cars. He
right,
likes it, that's his hobby. He enjoys restoring things and building new things, etc. So that was established enough that it didn't feel like it was out of nowhere.
right.
So yay, Delta Flyer. Oh, also, I think we forgot to mention that the Malon were pissed off because they went after this probe and got destroyed because they were idiots.
That they lost the shuttle they had made plus some crew members.
No, this
Uh,
is before. This is the first
Oh,
Malon ship that has seen the probe and goes after it and
right.
starts
Oh,
tractoring
right.
it away.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. That was a pretty dumb thing. And so of course the second ship that shows up is like, "No, this is your fault.
Oh,
It's all
yeah.
your fault and now we're gonna get your thing as compensation."
And
So,
he said, "Hey, we warned them not to go in there, and they did
mhm.
it anyway, and that's how they got destroyed. So it's nothing on us."
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care because nothing's ever their fault.
Oh, of course. Sounds like a certain kind of political perspective, but
Yeah.
I won't bring that up again.
No, please don't. I
Yeah.
think we've talked about that enough.
Especially when people talk about personal accountability until it comes around for them to be personally accountable, and then suddenly it's not that anymore.
Yes.
It's like, oh, other people can be accountable for the actions, but not me. It's going to be
Wishy-washy.
somebody else's fault.
Wishy-washy. It's like the do
Yep.
as I do, not as or do as I say,
Mhm.
not as I do
Yep.
sort of thing. And
Or like being saying that you're for law and order when you're obviously not.
honestly though, watching that episode, it made me hungry for pancakes.
Yeah, banana pancakes.
Yeah, not banana pancakes specifically, but just pancakes.
Yeah,
I wanted
banana
pancakes.
pancakes.
I don't
Yeah,
have a
it's like
problem with banana pancakes.
no.
Well,
No,
all it is
no.
really is pancakes with banana slices.
Okay,
You know, that's
yeah.
really all it is.
I thought maybe it was mushed up into the actual
No.
batter.
No, you actually see on the plate that it's banana
Oh,
slices.
mm.
So, and she
Ugh,
was like
fruit with a
taking,
meal. Ugh. It's a good way to get indigestion. That's
yeah.
a breakfast that's going to repeat on you.
Well, if you eat the fruit first, it tends to
Mm,
work better
okay, you
because,
eat the fruit second, then it's just going to kind of force everything else out.
yeah, because fruit tends to digest more quickly than other
Right.
things. And so if
Yeah.
you eat the fruit first, then you're not going to get the runs.
Which is weird because usually people hold fruit to be like the dessert of the meal. It's like, no, you want that first.
Well, it depends on what kind of fruit, what you're doing with the fruit.
Right,
Because, yeah,
right.
there may be fruit in a dessert, but it's not like, raw fruit.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, cherries or something.
Well, cherries can fuck off. I don't like them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, take that, cherries.
Take that, cherries. I only eat 3 fruits. Well, 4. I can eat bananas, but I only
Lemon,
like.
limes, grapes,
Yeah, I don't.
and
You
what
don't.
else?
Do you eat lemons though,
No, well, I used
or
to.
limes?
I used to bite right into them.
Yeah, I don't do that. So I only like to eat as far as raw fruits, mangoes.
Hmm.
I love mangoes. It's probably my top thing. Peaches and strawberries.
The original peaches.
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 Peaches. They're so
Standing on the beach is watching all the beaches.
Ah, I really want pancakes. We're gonna have to go to Jeremiah's.
Oh, that'd be nice. Meat lovers. Oh, Jeremiah's is this restaurant we have. It serves breakfast all day. It also has some dinner stuff, but it's next to this kind of motel area where I think a lot of skiers go and stay.
Yep.
And so it has kind of a ski chalet meets hunter's lodge kind of design to it.
Not
So it's
my
kind of a
favorite, but
combination of the two things that we both are not interested in, which is extreme winter sports and hunting
mm-hmm.
and fishing.
It's not our top thing.
Yeah, so, structurally, interior design wise, not our thing, but the food is amazing.
Oh, so good.
And their service people are usually pretty cool. They'll have like
Yes.
tattoos and piercings and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're very cool and they're very good at what they
Yeah,
do.
they're very good at what they do. Yeah, it's good service, good food, and I usually get the meat lovers sizzle, which is a skillet meal with
Yeah.
homestyle hash browns, scrambled eggs, was it bacon, sausage, and ham, all mixed together with some cheese, and then like a side of sourdough bread.
Yeah, I that's not even my favorite thing and I'm already drooling, but
Yeah, that's
they
usually what I get.
they do have the best pancakes I've ever tasted. They also have the best scones I've ever tasted.
Yep.
And their scones can be gigantic. Like the Navajo taco scone is almost bigger than the plate that they put it on.
It's like a wagon
Also,
wheel.
yeah. Also, their chili is really good, which I'm very, very picky about chili. And their chili tastes like the chili that my mom used to
Right.
make and the chili that I make. It's that good. It's like it tastes like homemade. Oh God, I'm so hungry, right?
It's be dinner time pretty soon.
Yeah, we didn't actually eat that long ago, but now talking about it's my fault. It's
You
all
want to
my
talk about
fault.
Jeremiah's? That's so good.
Well, that's
But yeah,
because
we were
I was
talking about
thinking about banana
pancakes.
pancakes.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
this
that would not
episode's
be
fault.
my meal. I think maybe some of the things I've seen Captain Pike make, I might have been interested in.
Mm.
But yeah, the banana pancakes, I'm like, I don't really think that often about food and Star Trek. It's not one of those series that, the food becomes a thing.
Yeah. Well, there are things that are mentioned from time to time. The thing
Right.
that you'll notice more than anything else is coffee,
Yeah, and I'm not a coffee
especially
drinker. Oh
the
yeah, with
Roctagino.
Janeway. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the Roctaginos that
Mhm.
they all drink over on Deep Space Nine.
Isn't that like a Klingon cappuccino kind of thing? Is it
Uh,
Klingon?
it's really strong. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it is Klingon. But it's like the strongest coffee
Yeah.
that there is. Oh, that is so funny. I just got a message from Bones Coffee Company saying, "Hey, thanks for your recent purchase." And I'm like, "Dude, that was a
Nice.
while ago."
Yeah, I
I
don't
love
drink
coffee.
coffee.
By the way, this is not a paid promotion, but if you like coffee, try Bones Coffee. They have the most amazing coffee flavors, plus their packaging is amazing. Their pun game is also fantastic with
Yeah,
naming.
they're geared towards or targeted, advertising wise towards nerds. And so you'll have Fallout themed stuff, you'll have Spider-Man themed stuff,
Star
or
Wars themed
Star
stuff.
Wars themed stuff.
SpongeBob themed stuff happened for the summer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was SpongeBob, but none of the flavors were appealing to me. They were all just kind of fruity, and
That's
I'm just
probably
like,
all like
no.
pineapple and all that kind of thing. It's like, no, thank you.
No, not for me. Even just their less themed flavors. Like there's one that's called Highland Grog that I love. It's so tasty, and I also have Irish cream.
Well, considering you're Scotch Irish, I could see how
Mm.
both of those would appeal to you.
In fact, I haven't had any of my coffee today. I'm going to need to do that.
Meanwhile, I'm like
Guys,
Finnish Welsh, so who knows what would appeal to me.
guys, I have a
Reindeer
coffee
meat.
problem. I have a coffee problem.
He has a coffee problem. There's coffee in that nebula.
There is coffee in that nebula. I
Mhm.
just know it. I like flavored coffees.
Mm.
And if that upsets anyone, I'm really sorry, but I have to be true to who I am. Anyway, they even did a promotion with Loki. They partnered
Yeah.
with Marvel for the Key Lime Chaos coffee for the Loki series because it's funny. Key Lime
Well,
Chaos.
here's something we didn't really mention is when Alana actually does injure herself with doing a simulation of taking the Delta Flyer into the gas giant, is she hears how dangerous it is, and she's like, "Ooh!" You see this little light bulb pop up over her head, like, "Ooh,
Mm.
danger!" And so she goes runs a simulation without safety protocols, and she gets knocked unconscious during it. And of course, that kind of TV movie style knocked unconscious where you would have actual brain damage if you were knocked unconscious for that
Mm.
long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're unconscious for more than a few minutes, there's some problems.
Actually, when it's a head injury, if you're unconscious for more than a minute, then
Yeah,
you've got a problem.
yeah. And she was out for what, hours, I think?
Well, somebody finally figured out she'd gone missing. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
Chakotay, actually,
Mm.
wasn't it? I think it was Chakotay that found her.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so.
anyway, yeah, interesting episode. Two very different stories going on here
Yeah,
because
but I
we've got,
see how extreme risk as a title kind of fits both in a
yes,
certain way.
agree. It has a dual meaning because
Yeah.
it's very risky building this ship super fast and trying to get their probe back so it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And at the same time, Balana is dead inside and trying to feel something. And
Right.
so she's taking extreme risks in order to feel alive.
And wasn't it a little sad when she is talking to Neelix and he's like, why, make fun of me, say something about my food, anything.
Hmm.
Because, that's usually what you do. And I wonder if she took that to heart at all. It's like, oh my God, I'm punching down. Why am I doing that to make myself feel better? Why do we have to insult somebody to raise ourselves up? It's
Yeah, that's not
I
necessary.
know he's like a morale officer, but he doesn't have to be everybody's lightning rod of hate.
Well, not only that, but he's also in security training now
Yeah.
because he wants to be part of security. And Tuvok, despite his misgivings, is actually doing that training with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, way to go, Tuvok, for not being a total dick on that.
Right. Even though he often is with Neelix, because
Um,
they're very different personalities.
Vulcans in general can be
Yeah.
mistaken for dicks very easily.
Well, it's like that thing where people use their autism as excuses to be an asshole. It's like you
Mm.
don't have to be that, even though you might have some social things, you don't have to use that as an excuse.
Yeah, when it comes right down to it, for the most part, and I'm not saying that this is 100% true for every human being on the planet, but for the most part, you can choose your
Yeah.
behavior.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not just attacking people with autism. It's like I took a test. I have like an autism quotient of 37. So, chances are I'm on the spectrum. I just haven't been officially,
Well, yeah.
formally diagnosed with it. It's just I understand. I've seen people, with autism and their struggles, and I've identified with them. So,
Mm.
and I can come off gruff. I can come off short. I can come off unsympathetic in communications, especially at work. But I can try. Even though it's difficult and can be exhausting to present a more, I guess, affectionate or kind or friendly attitude towards others.
Mm.
That it can draw on your energies, but you can do it. It's
Yeah.
just, there is a limited reserve there before I might have to go off and be on my own or something.
Yep. I know the
Because, yeah,
feeling.
especially
Now,
people at work that might ask me a lot of questions. After a while, it starts getting less and less, or when it becomes more familiar. I mean, if it's out of the blue, then yeah, it could be really friendly with somebody who doesn't ask a lot of questions, but the same person. And sometimes when it's the same question, it's like, I already
mm,
told you this. I can kind of lose some of my patience with that.
yep. I know that feeling
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you were dealing with that, but you were also a woman and expected to
Oh
always
yeah.
be pleasant and
Well,
then
that's
put down for not being pleasant.
what they say is it's harder to track for autism traits in women because they're more accustomed to masking because
Mm-hmm.
it's expected of them to get along socially.
Yep.
And so women with autism have a little bit more practice in that arena, even though they're struggling with the same things. They're better at pretending that they're not. And so I think a lot of autism testing is starting to skew for that is like, okay, women with autism are doing this. So,
Yep.
it's not that more men have it. It's like the women that have it aren't testing in the same manner.
I think that's pretty much a commentary for the entirety of the female population
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, we're going through it, but we're not telling you about it because you
Mm.
don't care. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that to you personally. I'm just
Oh
saying
no,
that
of course not.
people think that women aren't going through things. We're going through everything. Everything all the time. It's just that nobody else cares.
Well, it's like how historically medical science has just looked at the male species and just assumed women went through the same thing when women have completely different biology and completely different things going on.
For completely different
And
hormone levels.
yeah, hormones and just whole other scenarios that they're not just men with these different parts.
Yeah.
So,
And don't
yeah,
even get
and
me started on the hell that is menstruation.
right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my diatribe
Anywho's,
about how, yeah.
think we're done with the review of this episode? Is there
I
anything
think
else you want
so.
to mention about it?
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I think both A and B plot lines do well. I think Balana's was the A
Yeah.
because B just seemed to be, just something to set in the background that kind of played counter to her struggles.
Well, the way that Voyager is coded for the most part is that what you see in the cold open is generally going to be your A story.
That makes sense.
So that's what we started with was B'Elanna on the holodeck, taking off safety protocols
Balana on the
in the
holodeck.
holodeck.
You're a rock star. Get your groove on. Hey. Sorry, it's just the pattern in which you said that brought that up to mind. So you got a song anyway, everybody. Balana on the holodeck.
Okay. Uh,
All that's in danger is bold. Is trying to think of this is Andorians like the cold. There it is.
there are no Andorians in this.
I
Come
know
on.
I needed the rhyme. And
I
it just
know.
took me a while to call them the Andorians because the first thing was to call them the Aryans, and that is wrong. Even though they like to call Archer pink skin, which seems very racist. With was it Mayweather right there, going, "Hey,
Yeah. All right. So I guess we got to choose our next thingy.
yeah, it's time to choose the next episode that we will review in our weird random reviews of Star Trek episodes." So are we ready?
Yes. I feel like I contributed very little to this episode, but there we
I
are.
dominated the hell out of this. Oh, you had plenty to talk about.
But
You
anyway.
had the whole Jeremiah's thing to discuss.
I didn't have anything to do with the damn episode except for pancakes. Okay.
Pancakes was an important thing. I think you contributed more than you think you do. You did.
Oh,
Well,
shut up, Siri.
don't tell
Shut up,
Siri to
you.
shut up. The
Shut up,
robot's
you.
takeover will kill us.
Well, it was my watch that was doing that. Okay.
Okay.
So here we go.
Okay.
Give me a second. Give me a
For
second. Stop, 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 stop,
I
stop.
was just about to say for series.
All right. So we have out of 16. So
Out of 16,
yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
there's 16 different
9,
series
10,
of
11,
Star
12,
Trek?
13, 14, 15, 16. This is counting the movies. Oh, wait.
Oh,
I'm counting one that hasn't started yet. 2 that haven't started yet. 14. We're at 14.
is it Star Trek Day coming up?
What?
Aren't we doing movies for specifically Star Trek Day?
Are we?
Yeah.
September
So why
8th?
were we doing movies and not the TV series?
Okay, I don't understand what you're asking me right now, so
I
we'll
don't
just
understand either.
okay, we'll just talk about this afterward because it's
Okay.
taking up time that we don't need to spend
Okay, I was just
on air.
curious why we were doing movies.
I told you that was part of the thing, that they counted as part of the Star Trek universe and therefore would be included as episodes.
Oh, I did not know that. I did not know we agreed to that.
I absolutely told you that more than once. Anyway, here we go. Hello, Siri. Please give me a number between 1 and 14. Well, you're not talking to me. Hey, Siri, give me a number between 1 and 14.
That would be 13.
Oh my goodness.
Is
Holy
that Strange New
cow.
Worlds? Is that Prodigy?
Nope, that is actually TNG movies. TNG
Really?
movies.
Okay.
Yep.
So we are definitely doing the movies at random.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought we
That's-
were doing all
I
of them at
thought we
random.
agreed to on Star Trek Day to do the movies,
I did not recall that.
and that we'd choose one on random for Star Trek Day to do one of the movies.
Well, we still have there's a total of 13 movies, so I'm sure that we will be able to do one of those at random. But we're still going to
So-
do this way.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good?
I just was thinking the movies would be something kind of special to do
No.
on a special occasion kind of thing.
No. That wouldn't be random, would it?
Oh no, but the movies, yeah, okay. It's a circular argument. I just had in mind a specific thing to do with the movies but we're just going to make that part of the random decision making
Yes,
aside from this television series.
which I stated already. Anyway, let's stop
Okay.
doing this. Okay. So, movies, TNG, there's 4 of them. Hey Siri, give me a number between 1 and 4. Or not. Give me a number between 1 and 4.
Isn't that the
answer
one
is
with the
4.
whales?
Nope. We're talking TNG, sweetheart.
Oh, TNG, right.
Yeah.
Was that like Insurrection or something?
No,
Nemesis?
yeah, I'm afraid it is.
Oh dear Lord.
I'm pretty sure it is Nemesis.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I take that back. I lumped them all together in my spreadsheet, so it would be the Voyage Home.
Oh,
But see, I separated them out in TNG. Oh, hell.
okay.
Okay. So there's 14, no, excuse me. There's a total of 14 movies, although Section 31 hasn't come out yet.
Right.
So if we do it by that, not separated out by original series, TNG, the alternate timeline, and Discovery / Section 31, then if we don't separate them out, there's 14.
Okay. And you already did 1 out of 14 that said 4. Oh, it said, okay, now I'm confused again.
You know
Oh
what?
boy.
We're not going to talk about this anymore, okay? Because it's going to take me longer than I want to take to explain
So we're
this to
just
you.
going to do Nemesis because that's just what it happened to land on, we think.
Yes.
Okay, so we're doing Star Trek Nemesis.
Yep. Which I have not watched in a really, really long time.
Well, Tom Hardy, that's something.
That
Get more
is something.
Borg Queen action, which I'm not too excited about. Even though I love Alice Krige, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, then. Well, after much debate, that is
Right.
what we're
Yeah.
doing,
I don't
folks.
know what. Yeah. All right.
Okay, then. So next shield modulation, buckle in. Rewatch Star Trek
We're-
Nemesis.
Doing a movie.
We're doing a movie.
Star Trek
Sure will.
Nemesis.
I'm sure we'll have things to say.
Yeah, about this, of course. Especially after a lot of people have been kind of turning on this one and starting to appreciate it more.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure why, but we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
if it recovers from the criticism it first had.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So
Yes, indeed.
Star Trek Nemesis.
All right,
Ooh,
then.
we will watch it tonight. Who knows?
Maybe we will. Maybe we
Yeah.
will.
Maybe,
maybe
we will.
we'll-
and maybe
maybe-
we will.
Maybe we'll do it next week, so it's a little more fresh in our minds.
Oh, that's true.
So
Mm.
you never know. You never know.
You never knew.
Because I do have to pick movie night next week.
Well, this could be it then. It's
There
already
you go.
chosen for you.
Perfect. We're
There you
watching.
go.
We're watching
We'll watch
Nemesis.
this for movie night. Yeah.
There it is. All right, kids. Sorry about all the confusion, and
Yeah.
and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
All right.
Okay,
See you
love
in
you.
2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye. Live long and prosper.
Still up.
Still up.